Yo, what's up YouTube, man? It's your boy Action Jackson, and in today's video I'm going to be reacting to Dane Brugler's first round mock of the Dallas Cowboys selecting Michael Mayer and my thoughts on should we take tight end in the first round. So before we hop into the video, I would appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content. So hopping straight into it, man. I'll just post it up on the screen, but Dane Brugler, who's a trusted source by the Dallas Cowboys and was part of the Draft Network shows for the Dallas Cowboys, so he has clear insight and intel on what the Dallas Cowboys might sway into their liking come draft night. And in this mock, he had the Dallas Cowboys selecting Michael Mayer, and in the quote below, as said, as one plugged-in league source told me about Mayer and the Cowboys, I just can't see Dallas passing. Now, for me and my initial thoughts, I just think it's smokescreen, honestly, in my opinion. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys will select, a tight end. Now, it depends who's on the board. Most importantly, I don't think Dallas Cowboys are in a dire need at a position other than left guard, which we know is a dire position that we do need. Most likely a left side player. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys and there is a surefire left tackle like an Anton Harrison, or if a Darnell Wright is at that position at right, that who's a bona fide right tackle out of Tennessee, if he's there, depending on who is on the board at 26, I think the Cowboys won't select tight end. Now I know for sure that if like a certain player, like if a Jackson Smith is there at 26, I think Dallas Cowboys are running up to that card and they're throwing that in there. If, a Paris Johnson were to fall, which he won't, but if he were to, I can see the Dallas Cowboys drafting him over a tight end. And most importantly, I think that for like a Paris Johnson or like a Skoronski is there, I don't think I see the Cowboys drafting tight end. If Nolan Smith, my edge one coming out this year's draft, Nolan Smith drops to 26, I don't see the Dallas Cowboys drafting a tight end or offensive line. But ultimately, it comes down to the Dallas Cowboys of who they have ranked as well. If they have a first-round grade on Michael Mayer, and they're like, let's say Michael Mayer is like the 15th best player on their board, and like say, for example, a guy like O'Cyrus Torrence or maybe even a Steve Avila is there at 26. Let's say they have Steve Avila there, ranked as like their 50th best player. If they're doing a top 100 and Steve Avila is like either top 50 or he's like around the 40s somewhere, and they have Michael Mayer ranked higher, I can see that being a possibility that they choose best player available. Vice versa, same thing if O'Cyrus Torrence is down towards like 60 or 70 best player and Michael Mayer is there, or Dalton Kincaid or Darnell Washington, I can see the Dallas Cowboys selecting, Michael Mayer over or tight end over any offensive line. So I think really what 26 boils down to ultimately is either tight end or offensive line, whatever the best prospect is there. Overall, if we look at tight ends and how they panned out in the first round, if we're just coming out the past couple of drafts, TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant, for example, those are outliers, and not really outliers, but those are guys that are a lot of these tight ends that I have posted up on the screen doesn't really indicate how well tight ends can go and how well they can do in the NFL first round, because a lot of these guys, they didn't have a bunch of great tight ends that a bunch of great quarterbacks or offensive coordinators. If you look at Hawkinson, who had went to the Lions, they didn't even have a solid quarterback there. Yes, they had Matt Stafford, but Matt Stafford will be in and out of the lineup. He'll be hurt a lot, so he never really got like a full season out of Matt Stafford. Outside of those times when they would go to the playoffs, but anywhere from 2019, from when he was drafted on up, you didn't get a lot out of Matt Stafford there in Detroit. Noah Fant had went to the Broncos, and at that point in 2019, the Broncos still were in QB and still are in QB purgatory. I still think Russell Wilson could be a really great player for the Broncos, but just things didn't pan out. Noah Fant was part of that Russell Wilson trade anyway. You look at Kyle Pitts. Now, Kyle Pitts for me is kind of an outlier because he still was able to get 1,000 yards. He did have a pretty good season with Matt Ryan, but that second year he didn't have a great season, dealt with injuries, and plus he had quarterback, circus going on at quarterback with Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, And, already, like I said, Kyle Pitts was already dealing with the injuries. But normally, as you guys can tell, tight ends don't really pan out in the first round. Anywhere from day 2 on to day 3, that's when your tight ends normally pan out. But like I said, some of those outliers, like if you look at Kelsey, you look at Kittle, um, you can't really say those guys are, misevaluated. You could, but, not everyone is being able to go into a great situation like the Niners with Shanahan and the Chiefs with Andy Reid. So tight end for me indicates on who your quarterback is. If you have a solid veteran quarterback who is at least top 10, top 15 in his own position, and you also bring upon that offensive coordinator who can bring in that tight end and know how to use a tight end, then we'll be fine. And tight ends can pan out depending, like I said, quarterback and scheme. But also already on the roster, I think Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot, those are guys that as rookies, they didn't cost you any games last year. If not, they helped contribute to winning games. Jake Ferguson was part of the reason why you got back into that Philly game. He did a nice little on a bootleg. He did Cooper Rush jumped it off to Jake Ferguson. He had a great yak ability, that yards after the catch. He made a nice little Euro step to go in for a touchdown. Peyton Hendershot, I believe, like the week after or 2 weeks after, went in Detroit. He got his first career touchdown. Jake Ferguson had a highlight against the New York Giants on Thanksgiving. Also in that Tampa Bay game on a bootleg as well, we jumped it off to Jake Ferguson. So we didn't utilize the tight ends as much as I would have liked us to last year, especially since our wide receiver outside of CeeDee Lamb, we had no other production. So I would love the Dallas Cowboys to involve and incorporate more of our tight ends last year, but they didn't, which is fine. But like I said, ultimately, the two positions I boiled down for 26 for the Dallas Cowboys to select is either tight end or offensive line. Offensive line, mainly left side player, either left tackle or left guard. And tight end, I can see the Cowboys either drafting Michael Mayer or Darnell Washington, because there is a clip surfacing with Stephen Jones talking about what he looks for in a tight end.
Steven, when you're looking at the tight end position as you're going through all this, what is it that you guys, what are the traits that you're looking for out of that spot? We all kind of felt that we had some pretty good ones there this year, but there's also some good ones in this draft. So what kind of traits are you looking for out of the tight end?
There's certainly, as college football's evolved, it's harder and harder to find the quote unquote, we call it the Y tight end, which is the inline guy who can block as well. Those are few and far between as we move forward. You certainly see them. We had a guy around here, Martellus Bennett, who a lot of people said could have, if he wanted to, could have put on weight and been a left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
But
and he was talking about how Martellus Bennett, basically, just paraphrasing what Stephen Jones had said. He had said that in the quote that he was talking with, I think on 103.5 The Fan, he was saying that what he looks for in his tight ends is a tall, lanky guy, inline tight end, somebody basically just a tight end that can block really well, like an extension of a tackle. And Martellus Bennett was 6'5", I believe, 6'5", 6'6", and he was saying that they love Martellus Bennett because the way he was able to block, and he was able to bring in some production through the air, and also they were saying that he was just a couple pounds away from being an offensive tackle. And if you just look up that quote and look up that video, that small clip, it's all over throughout Cowboys Twitter. Basically, what he was talking about with Martellus Bennett is what they're talking about with Darnell Washington. I believe Martellus Bennett again was 6'5", 6'6". Darnell Washington 6'7". They count him as a really great blocker as a tight end. He can contribute into the passing game, but they're also trying to say that he's only a couple pounds away from being a left tackle. So I think the Dallas Cowboys looking in at Darnell Washington, especially since they brought him in for a 30-day visit. But I also see the Dallas Cowboys can pick Michael Mayer because he has a lot of attributes like Jason Witten, somebody who's healthy, somebody who's constantly, in the games. He has great route running. He has surefire hands, soft hands. He's able to catch the ball any and everywhere. His catch radius is tremendous. He's not really a guy that's going to be like your Travis Kelce, your Kittle, where he's going to beat you in man coverage with his speed or anything like that. But he's going to be there at the right place at the right time. And I feel like if the Dallas Cowboys really wanted to go tight end, I think they would. But the reason why I feel like the Dallas Cowboys aren't too keen on tight end is because if they felt like they wanted to keep 3 good tight ends, they would have re-signed Dalton Schultz, especially if you look at the market and what he got from the Houston Texans, which was only a year deal, $9 million, and Dalton Schultz got that in the second or third wave of free agency. So that is just that just for me just goes and show you how the Dallas Cowboys feel about tight end, because I feel like they feel that Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot are enough, but I feel like the Dallas Cowboys were to drop the tight end, and where I would feel more comfortable if they were to drop the tight end would be around round 3 to round 4. Yeah, man, that's about it really for my thoughts on Dallas Cowboys drafting tight end. I don't mind if they do, but it depends on who's on the board. If there's a better prospect, a better player than a tight end, like a Nolan Smith, a Quentin Johnston, a JSN, Nolan Smith, Anton Harrison, if those guys are there, I would pick all offensive line over tight end. But if you're wiped out and your best offensive linemen are Steve Avila or Osiris Torrance, I could see the Dallas Cowboys picking tight end like Michael Mayer if he's available, Dalton Kincaid, or Darnell Washington. So that's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.